Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakah Kadash. And I want to give double honors to the apostles and great millstone who rule well. And Barakathums to the Akim that's pushing in his truth and in his faith, doing the work in sincerity. And I wanted to go into this to a couple articles on CNN. The first one is China likely training pilots to target the Pentagon report, to target U.S. The Pentagon report says, Salakian. I'm going to go ahead and go into that and play the video because this is basically fulfilling the prophecy of what Joel said, Joel chapter 3 verse 10, and they basically saying that they strong. Said let the weak say that they are strong, because America, Babylon the Great, is the hammer of the world, and they military is the powerful most military in the world because they're the hammer of the world. Militaries, the military of the United States is the strongest military in the world, and we're gonna get into that further. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video.
China is aiming to boost its nuclear weapons capabilities through its long-range bombers. The Chinese military likely training for strikes against U.S. and allied targets, according to the latest Pentagon report. One of the CIA's leading experts on China says China is trying to send a message.
The Chinese do not want conflict, they do not want war, they do not want conflagration. But at the end of the day, they want every country around the world, when it's deciding its interests, its decisions on policy issues, to first and foremost side with China, not the United States.
China's goal?
The Chinese fundamentally seek to replace the United States as the leading power in the world.
President Xi making clear Chinese military power is to be reckoned with. The Chinese have some military advantages. Vice President Mike Pence revealing a U.S. military shortfall.
Hypersonic missiles designed to fly up to 5 miles per second at such low altitudes that they could potentially evade detection by our missile defense radars. In fact, China claimed to have made its first successful test of a hypersonic vehicle.
And a key Chinese advance.
China launched a missile that tracked and destroyed one of its own satellites, a highly provocative demonstration of China's growing capability to militarize space.
But it is here in the South China Sea, in a well-known feud, that the U.S. already finds itself facing off against China. Man-made islands now with airstrips and radar towers, islands capable of housing troops and weapons. It was clear when CNN's Ivan Watson joined a U.S. Navy patrol aircraft that Chinese forces warned the Americans were not welcome. The U.S. crew responded with a carefully crafted message.
United States naval aircraft conducting lawful military activities beyond the national airspace of any coastal state and exercising these rights is guaranteed by international law.
And you hear what they're saying. They're challenging America for that number one spot, for the power, for the number one power in the world, trying to sway other lesser countries to sign with them instead of the United States, because they're trying to take over from America. And that just shows you that America is going down. Because China not going to do it by themselves. They're going to have the help of America's allies and Russia. And now I'm about to go get this other article. Basically, This article is about Russia though, and it's basically saying the same thing. It says mystery Russian satellite worries experts. And now I'm finna play this video.
Blasting off from a Russian cosmodrome, a Soyuz rocket surges into space. Its payload, a military satellite shrouded in mystery. That was in June of last year. Tonight, space and military analysts are investigating whether that satellite is the same one, which a top U.S. arms control official said this week was exhibiting, quote, abnormal behavior.
When you look at the entire Russian catalog, this satellite and its children are the ones that jump out as the ones that are acting in an unusual way.
The satellite's children? Experts at the firm Analytical Graphics, who've analyzed this satellite, believe the larger Russian satellite, quote, birthed a smaller satellite a couple of months later. Then, a couple of months after that, the smaller Russian satellite birthed an even smaller satellite.
Almost like a Russian nesting doll.
The Russian Ministry of Defense even announced the first birthing, saying the smaller satellite would, quote, inspect the condition of the larger one. But experts are worried the Russians could be testing it out for military purposes.
The fact that it's the MOD announcing it, the Ministry of Defense announcing that, and it's a secret mission, clearly that's, even if it's a test satellite, it's got some kind of military purpose in what it's testing.
What kind of military purpose? The Pentagon and U.S. Air Force Space Command won't say specifically what they believe the Russian satellites could do. But tonight, a U.S. military official tells CNN the Russians and other adversaries have turned space into a, quote, warfighting domain.
You could see the evolution of that technology in that a single satellite could then sort of give birth to multiple smaller satellites, which would principally be potentially kinetic weapons. Of course, we're thinking later on to the future.
This possible threat is one reason why the Trump administration has been pushing so hard for a so-called Space Force. U.S. military officials have told CNN the Russians have already developed a satellite called Cosmos 2499. They've nicknamed it Kamikaze because they say it could at some point have the capability to go on the attack and slam into American satellites. Experts say the Russians could use satellites to jam American satellites, intercept, or disrupt crucial communications.
A lot of our image surveillance reconnaissance means are space-based. So it's really more United States' ability to see in support of its forces that potentially is threatened.
The Russians are flatly denying the U.S. assertion that they're trying to weaponize satellites.
That's basically all I'm gonna say out of this. And now I'm gonna go get some scriptures. And this is Job 3, chapter 10. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what the Chinese and Russia's doing. They're spending all their money on weapons of war, building up their arsenals, with building up their weaponry. They're building themselves up. You just heard that they got hypersonic missiles that's able to carry nuclear warheads that can fly at low altitudes and basically be undetected by America's anti-missile defense systems. Okay? And that's just going to show you how that America is going to fall. Let me go get the scripture. This is 2 Peter chapter 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. And that's talking about them nuclear missiles. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that there, and also the works that there, Salakia, and the works that are therein shall be burned up. I mean, everything gonna be burned up. Ain't nothing gonna make it. Because America and because America's allies is going to turn against America. You could see that in CNN with Turkey. Turkey, the I think it's the I think it's their prime minister or their president or something. He declared that the United States of America stabbed them in the back. So that just goes to show. And Turkey is meant to be a NATO ally. And he said that America stabbed them in the back. And that's just going to show you how NATO is going to hate the whore, because NATO is the 10 horns. And I'm going to go get that scripture as well. And this is Revelation 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore, and that whore is America, and the 10 horns is NATO. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's them nuclear missiles. But it's not going to be NATO. It's not just going to be NATO. It's going to be China and Russia, and every other country with that has the ability to shoot nuclear missiles. And we see this in the news almost every day. How America keep making its allies angry with us, with America, basically. And you can see how they're building up their military arsenals, especially China. But that was all I wanted to go into. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakakadash, and Barakathum to all you brothers that's out here pushing in this truth and in this faith and sincerity, and Shalom to the elect.